So we initially started rewatching episode 4, having not remembered that we covered it already. So I think that should kind of set the tone for this video, which is going to cover RWBY Ice Queendom, episodes 5 and 6. There will be spoilers for RWBY the series, all of it that's available so far in our discussion, so beware of that. We have not watched episode 7 yet, so please do not put spoilers for episode 7 or any further episodes in the comments. And this is not a reaction video, we're just gonna discuss it, because it's not just a Rooster Teeth production, it's also on Crunchyroll, and that's where the YouTube algorithm starts getting mad at me for things. So it's a discussion video. Hi, I'm Katie.
I'm Megan.
Was that a good enough introduction?
Yes, actually. I'm very impressed. Notice how I didn't interrupt once?
Yeah! Wow! See, that's the strategy. That's our teamwork working together.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work, baby!
Quite literally in this case.
Yes!
You're just happy because we're gonna get into some Dream Warrior shit.
Yes, I am! This is my goddamn shit! Dream Warriors is the best nightmare movie. And that's where we're at, and I am here for it.
Big Monday energy is what we call this. We're recording on Tuesday. It doesn't matter. It's still Big Monday energy.
The only thing missing is a sick 80s guitar riff, you know, that plays over the credits of the of the movie. That's all that's missing is the sweet 80s guitar riff. Otherwise, we are in Dream Warrior territory, and I'm all about it.
To be fair, we usually get those in RWBY openings.
Yes.
Yes.
But specifically 80s guitar.
That's fair.
It's different.
That's fair.
It's different than the current Jeff Williams
That's true.
compositions. No,
I
80s
would love
guitars,
to see
they
Jeff
splash.
Williams do an 80s send-up.
Yes, that would be fantastic.
Sign me the fuck up, let's go. We're already off topic,
Here
and
for
that's
it.
fine. Yeah, so second time through watching episode 5. First time through watching episode 6, so we're recording what counts as fresh, I guess. I do love that midway through episode 6, we established, like, stakes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we already knew, okay, being possessed by a nightmare is a bad thing, it's being used as a breeding ground for more nightmares, like, cool, great, awesome. But this is where we got to, if you don't do it this time, she's gonna fucking die. Like, okay, cool. We finished explaining things to the audience our first 2 playthroughs. Now here's the actual run.
Good tone setter, for
Good.
sure.
Yeah. Really good for going into, it's like, oh yes, we've elevated the stakes, and also all of your markers are gone, so you're starting over.
Starting from scratch.
Oh.
What I really, really liked these 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Like, I know that when the first 3 episodes of this season were kind of rough because they were truncated recaps that also recontextualized some things in interesting ways, and I still feel similarly about what we said about recapping those 3 episodes. And episode 4 I had very mixed feelings on. Episode 5 finally gave me what I've been wanting from this season, and I'm having a lot more fun with it than doing just the speed run of season 1.
Yeah.
And
like, we finally finished the tutorial. We're finally done explaining how all of this works to the audience. Because up through the end of episode 5, we were still explaining shit. And then even in bits of episode 6, it's still, yeah, this is how this works.
Well,
so we finally have all the mechanics figured out. We finished the 4-hour tutorial, and now we can get to the Disney characters.
I guess my summer vacation is over.
Yeah, now the stakes are here, bitches.
Winter break.
Hey!
But the
that's what's gonna happen if they don't win next time.
Yeah. But what I also like about where we're at is that with the way things are going, by the time we hit the end of the season, I might feel differently about the way the first handful of episodes were handled, because stuff is already starting to kind of come back around, where now I can be like, oh, that's why they chose to approach it this way. Yeah, that does make more sense. I'm still not there yet. Again, we're going to have to wait until the end of the season to see if that's my takeaway. but I'm feeling better about it than I did
Yeah.
those first couple weeks this was airing.
Yeah, and it's, when all we had was the first 3 or 4 episodes to go on, it's like, okay. So this show is faring better as a marathon so far. This is in much the same way that sometimes you sit down and look at a season of Ruby or Red versus Blue and go, this is going to play a lot better when it's all strung together as a movie.
When it's a movie,
Yeah. I'm going to say, this would be an extremely long movie. This is kind of a marathon night, 13 episodes of something. Or, God, does it have 13 or 11? I know someone told us, but I don't remember. I feel like someone said 11?
I don't know.
I don't remember. Someone did put this in the comments of one of our previous episodes, and I forgot.
I'll be honest, I won't be looking at the comments until after the season's done because I'm afraid of getting spoiled. So I'm actually going to hold off.
Twitter's a lot.
I'm actually very surprised at how little I've been spoiled because of Twitter. I think it's because I go to the trending page and I see Weiss trending or I see Ice Queendom trending, and then I close Twitter and I go, oh yeah, that's right. And I throw my phone away.
Because Twitter's like, that's what you want to know about, right? And like, on the one hand, yes. On the other hand, no.
On the one hand, you know me so well, algorithm. On the other hand, get the hell out of here. Be gone, spoilers.
Algorithms on social media are bad, actually. Fight me. Hi, algorithms are a problem. But that's elsewhere.
But
I say posting this on fucking YouTube.
I'm having a lot of fun with this. And the stuff that I feel these 2 episodes did right is what I've been waiting for. There's still some wonkiness here and there, but overall, my genuine takeaway is that like this was a much more positive experience than the first handful of episodes. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, I'm back in it.
Yeah, once
this is so great.
We are getting through the tutorial. We've figured it out, we've gotten through, we have ticked off all the boxes, or at least most of them, and now we are continuing on. It's like, okay.
I don't remember, did we talk about it during the episode 4 recap, but did we talk about how great it is to see the shadow people in the dream world?
I think we did.
I don't remember if we mentioned it or not.
God, that recap was so long ago and so long.
Well, in case
seeing the shadow people was a lot of fun.
In case we forgot to mention it, I adored that as just a little, it's just such an endearing part of the show's history, like specifically production history. The fact that like shadow people made an appearance into Ice Queendom just warms my heart.
That's one of those like, oh, the deep cut. Well, we appreciate you.
In the same way that like for those who are familiar with our little fan work, welcome to Vale. In the same way that like we liked injecting them into that like first episode that we did, I love seeing that done canonically.
Like we
That's
know
amazing.
it was an animation shortcut, and that was the point, because Poser was not made for the heavy lift that they were using it for, whereas Maya is. So like, yeah, like we understand that it's very much a game of spot the protagonist, in much the same way that Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 definitely did not have NPCs that didn't need to be there, and Kingdom Hearts 3 is like, holy shit, these cities are populated? What?
Still boggles my mind that Sora has a mom. You hear her off screen once and then you never see her.
Not just a mom, parents. Anyway.
Sorry, that's just one of those things that always like struck me as very odd in the case, where it's just like very weird that we never ever cut back to them.
But I have a friend who did like character designs for them, wrote stuff from their point of view, so to me it's like, no, they're very fleshed out people. I have an idea of how this works. Oh, that's specifically because of, okay, alright, that's the brain and the friends and the fandom filling in the gaps, as you should. That's fun. That's the transformative part of liking something. Holy fuck. Anyway,
you know,
can I just say,
go ahead. Yeah.
In terms of bringing things back around, we talked about, okay, Jean had it, and then he got better, and boy, was that a waste of time. Bringing it back around to the fact that he was recently host to a nightmare, as in like a day or two ago, means that he is essentially immune to the nightmare noticing him. Like, it's upped his stealth, but being close to one might also kill him in the dream, and I love this. I love this weird stat readjustment. I love this extra risk for, yes, moving through things is going to be a lot easier for you, but it's also extremely high risk. I love that, yes, we're bringing in Jean. He's kind of... Glass cannon isn't quite the right words because it's stealth and not strength that we're working with here. But he's our ace in the hole, but he's very fragile.
And in canon, he also still hasn't unlocked his semblance yet.
Yes.
So he's definitely working at a disadvantage in a lot of ways.
But that's also why the nightmare didn't take nearly as badly in him, because he only just opened up his aura and he hasn't gotten his semblance yet. So it's like, all right, that's a topical wound.
Yeah, no.
As opposed to the fucking surgery we're doing on Weiss.
I still think that, again, at the moment right now, I think the pacing of handling his, being infected with a nightmare was handled very odd. I love it coming back because I did just think it was an introductory thing. I didn't think it was going to have any plot significance going forward. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I like that it mattered because I feel a lot better about the way it happened when, I see what we're doing with it now.
Yeah, the fact that we are doing something with it, and it wasn't just an audience tutorial that was mostly skipped over. That was just to give the audience the rules of, this is how it works from the outside. Oh, hey, it worked for them. We're good. Yeah, it's coming back around. They've put that there, and now they're building on it. I do appreciate that they're doing this.
Yeah. Again, I still don't know how I'm going to feel about the pacing overall until the show is done, but it's just that's why we did it that way. Okay, I get it now. Talking about, oddly placed things, one of the best or most interesting things in these two episodes is also something that, in my opinion, didn't really need to be here, or it was kind of weirdly inserted, and that's Pyrrha's musical number. We
straight up had a musical break. It was...
She sings Mirror, Mirror, yeah.
It's one of those things, there's two different types of musicals. There's musicals where the songs are actually incorporated into the story and they move things along, and there's musicals where everything fucking stops for a musical number, and when it's over, you pick right back up. This was everything fucking stops for this musical number, except that RWBY has ignored that everything else has stopped for this musical number, takes a phone call, and leaves.
Rude. Very rude.
Which is honestly kind of amazing to me. I
like that she waves.
Bye. I get the point of this. I get the point of showing that Pyrrha is being protected and prized, and that Weiss sees a kindred soul in someone who has a reputation.
Wearing the exact same outfit.
Yeah. Has a reputation, has other people's expectations placed on her, is also, top tier Weiss, honestly. But, I understand what this was supposed to be and what this was supposed to mean on a more symbolic and analytical level. On a functional level, it was a fucking musical break that RWBY mostly ignored. And I love that.
I do love that, you know how sometimes if stuff is going on around you, if you're asleep, it can kind of sort of impact what you're dreaming a little bit, because your brain is still kind of taking in your surroundings to an extent, depending on what level of sleep you're at. I do like that this happened right as Team Juniper came into the room, and there was a very clear moment of Jean expressing his feelings for Weiss, and Pyrrha had to look on in that heartbreaking way of
I keep forgetting that at this point in canon, we are still in Jean has a crush on Weiss hell. I keep forgetting that we're still there. Because it's so fucking far into the past in the series that it's oh yeah, that is what happened within the first few seasons.
Now, no disrespect if that's your ship. Ship
you
anything
are
you want.
Absolutely welcome to ship that. Ship whatever, have fun. I didn't appreciate it as much in the show. It's one of those, I get it, but dude, she said no. Please stop.
It's one of those things where he clearly had a lot of growing to do.
Yeah.
To learn how to take a hint. And also, In the same way that Pyrrha didn't want to hang around a sycophant, Weiss doesn't want to hang around a sycophant. You know, that sort of thing. Even if Jean is a good guy, which we know he is, but
it's just one of those things where
he's got to get it together. Yeah.
Where we are in RWBY proper, I'm so used to all of this development for these characters that coming back to here at the end of season 1 is like, all right, this hasn't happened, that hasn't happened, she still has an arm, she's alive.
It's one of the reasons why
she's also alive.
It's one of
this
the
fucking show, guys. It's this fucking show.
Yeah, no, that was something we walked away from both these episodes going, I miss Pyrrha, I miss Penny.
Yeah, Penny showing up to talk to Yang, and it's like,
now that's an interaction we needed more of in the show proper. And I appreciate it here, even though it was very brief. You said it while we were watching it. They nailed Penny's everything.
My friend Ruby's older sister. I'm like, I fucking love you. I love you so much. This is early season Penny, and I early series Penny. It's just like, yes.
Oh, this is absolutely the girl that was like, wow, is this how good hugs always feel? Amazing. Everyone gets a hug.
Just like, oh, we're friends? I never had a friend before. Like, God fucking damn it.
I miss her. Anyway.
So fucking much, I swear to God.
This latest season of RWBY really hurt in that way. Anyway.
I'm very tired.
But yeah, so the musical number was oddly placed, although I am excited to see the dub version of it, because Jen Brown is going to kill it.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, so that I don't know when nor how that will become available, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
They did premiere the first episode of the dub at RTX, so we know that it's happening, and we know that it is the same voice actors, the same cast. For the most part, I would imagine. There have been a few changes. But yeah, no, Jen is going to kill it. It's going to be great.
Yes.
Yes.
I do wish, and they touch on this more in episode 6. Yeah, sorry, I lost my numbers for a second.
What day is it?
Because it seemed very odd while we were watching episode 5. It's shoehorned in regardless, but it seemed especially odd that it's like, okay, Pyrrha's in silly jail.
She's in silly jail.
This number, it felt very shoehorned in, but they make a point of saying it a little bit more in the next episode of like, oh, well, what do you do with things that you care about? You know, like if you have valuables, you lock them up.
It still doesn't make quite as much sense to me that RWBY and Yang are like in a comfy, cozy bedroom with all the important things, and Pyrrha, whom she idolizes, is in silly jail with the rest of her team. But maybe it's, well, she's silly for liking them.
I think it's like, she could do so much better. What a silly.
Fair.
Whereas, you know, Team RWBY, they all share a bedroom. You know, that's where the team goes. I appreciated the way Blake put it, though. The people you locked in a tower?
Yeah. It's just like,
Although, I absolutely love the trope of, like, you know, good person being manipulated and, you know, essentially imprisoning their loved ones under the guise of like, oh, I'm doing this to keep you safe.
Your own
I actually really like the way that this particular trope is being executed.
Because, I mean, we're also looking at the Weiss that we're working with, and they do this whole thing like,
Nega Weiss.
Like, okay. But it's one of those things where, when you're, you know, it's a hall of mirrors sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Like, the core is Weiss. There's still some of her in there, but it's been extracted by the nightmare and reflected through other people's expectations. Her expectations of herself, how she sees the world, how she thinks the world sees her. Again, it's gone through this hall of mirrors to come out this extremely militaristic version. In the same way that Whitley has gone through this hall of mirrors and come out as a bat, and Klein has come out as 7 different robots. Or 5 robots and 2 doors.
One of which is a sneezing dog.
I thought that robot was a Klein, but they didn't confirm it until episode 6. It's like, yes, Okay, I love that that's the confirmation that is fucking Sneezy Klein of all... Oh, wait, no. 4 robots, 2 doors, and a candle. Cool.
He's a very versatile butler.
He's a very versatile butler. I think it's the arson, murder, and jaywalking of 4 robots, 2 doors, and a candle.
What does this
that
legion
really
of,
does it for me.
What does this legion of robots do? We bottle, sir.
We like to keep the dreamscape tidy. Anyway, it's a hall of mirrors, reflections for this version of Weiss, and so you can reason with this version, but you can only really reason with her so far. And I think Blake hit that limit. Mm-hmm. They all kind of hit that limit, especially when we had the, all right, we're going in for the boss fight. We're not going in for the boss fight. How did you get here so fast? How did you? We cheated.
By all accounts, it makes no sense.
Right? As it was, they split up to distract her and give Ruby and Yang a chance to find the phone. Fuck me. Find the Grimm.
Yeah.
Which they do by using their little red horse beacon and untangling the random infinity Ouroboros that they wound up on, like...
But isn't that such
brain to unpack the symbolism for that one?
Isn't that such a weird dream logic thing, though? Of like, yes, of course you'd use the chess piece to unlock the Ouroboros. Of course that makes sense.
It's more that I'm sitting here going, okay, so we put in an Ouroboros, which is usually a ring, and it's the snake eating its tail, and it's rebirth and also futility,
but this was
depending
an
on who you talk to.
And
it's an infinity symbol, and there were chunks missing out of the middle of the snake. And I'm sitting here going, at what point does it stop being actual sit here and figure this out, dig in, symbolism to analyze, and start being, this just fucking looked cool. Because I have an English degree, and when someone sets a symbolism in front of me, I can't help but go, it's a symbolism! Let's talk about what it means! This is too many symbolisms, all eating their own tails, and I'm really starting to think that there isn't much more symbolism here aside from, but isn't this cool? And the answer is, yeah, of course it is.
It's always tough when you're analyzing any piece of art, whether it's a novel, whether it's a TV show or a movie. It's always tough to be like, here's my 3-page dissertation on the meaning behind this tiny, tiny thing, and then the author can come out at any moment and say, oh, I just thought it looked cool.
It's very, again, there's media literacy, and then there's English degree bullshit. Media literacy is something that everyone should have. English degree bullshit is a special flavor of hell because sometimes it just turns itself on and you have to sit here and go, time to write that fucking paper then.
This is absolutely a tangent, but when we were in school, I took a directing class, and there was a thing that the professor talked about called happy accidents, where, you know, in the course of filmmaking, sometimes you'll film something and unintentionally it is brilliant. And, you know, and people will read into it, like, kind of regardless of your intentions. And like, when that happens, it's wonderful. It's magic. But, you know, those things that are cool in spite of you, rather than because of you, that sort of thing.
I've seen... back in the good old days of Avengers fandom, before the MCU was... While the MCU was still really cool and not like, Jesus, more of this.
Hey, I still have fun.
Oh, I fucking love the MCU. But there has been kind of a cosmic shift in how it's handled. But back in the days of Avengers was the most recent movie we had, there was... Tumblr really loves to do media analysis, and I love it so much, because it's just a blast. But I remember seeing this big old post about Tony Stark in that movie and how he always had snacks and who he shared them with and what it meant. And like, you know, this is so great in the screenwriting and in the acting. And I'm like, yeah, that's really smart. Yeah, that's, you know, a really good way to look at this character, da-da-da. And then it comes out like a year later that it was just Robert Downey Jr. hiding snacks on set because he was hungry. And then just offering them to people while they were fucking filming in character. It wasn't scripted, it wasn't a big deep thing, but we all kind of latched onto it like, oh yeah, and then this, and then that, and, you know, he's offering them to Bruce in this scene because he trusts them, but he's not offering them to Steve because they're arguing. It's like, it's just, you know.
It's funny.
It's that sort of thing. There is very much, especially with literary analysis, you go super deep on something and then the author's like, so I just described, like, a room from the house I grew up in. There wasn't any symbolism in the furniture there, but I'm really glad that you found that intriguing.
I just love the idea of, like, you know, we're sitting here, like, talking about, like, the train in the dream and, like, what that might mean in the future and everything like that. And then we can cut to
like,
the writer's
I just like trains.
I just like trains. I like trains.
Isn't that the Walt Disney of it all? I like trains.
Anyway, we should get back on track. There are always going to be a million instances of somebody looking really deep into something. That's not that deep, bro. But
again, they handed me like 5 symbolisms in a symbolism. Yo, dog, I heard you like symbolism, and I can't help but sit here and go, is this important, or did they just over-design it because it was cool?
Yeah, and then there's the complete opposite of that, where there's seemingly kind of inconsequential stuff, but then you actually do start digging into it, and you're like, oh my gosh! Last time
Jean being infected by a nightmare versus...
Well, last time we recorded, I still had my Nope notes on our whiteboard. That is a movie where it's got a bunch of tiny little details, and it is... Each and every one of them is a rich vein.
Yeah, the details in Jordan Peele movies are on purpose.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so we used to... Fucking Ouroboros, I swear to God.
But yeah, what I love about we talking about how, you know, kind of weird it was to see Pyrrha and Silly Jail performing the song. What I do love is that where the Grimm has planted itself in her heart is right there on stage where that song was performed.
And
that's so cool.
Her dress from that above it. So like, yeah, no, that okay, we wanted to remind people
talking about it just now.
Like, we wanted to remind people of that, so here it is. More and more I'm looking at the show like, this is not a show for people who have never seen RWBY before. Just there's a few too many in there for it not to be for the crowd who knows.
But I also appreciate that, again, when we see stuff like that, it's a reminder that this was made by people who love it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
By people who love it and by people who loved Monty.
Yeah.
And so, like, yeah, it's just one of those things where I see that. One, I appreciate just how cool it is just on a very, very kind of horror movie surface level of like, here's this cool looking monster and it's planted itself right here. But then I also appreciate it on the greater level of like, I am a RWBY fan and I know what that place means to Weiss.
Yeah.
Everything like that. So yeah, it's cool. It makes me very happy.
Even if you haven't seen RWBY before this, the added persona, the added words, I'm great at this. When you're on stage, you have a persona. You are not necessarily
stage
yourself.
Presence, yes.
Either you are playing a character or you are putting a certain facet of yourself forward to the audience for them to consume. So, this being on the stage, like, even if you don't have that added mirror context, it's still just like, yeah, no, this makes sense. And also, this is the point where we get, hey, the professor told us not to touch the nightmare's thorns. And we get, oh yeah, for the most part in here, if you die in the dream, you die for real. Not quite as much. Still a problem, but not quite as much. But if the nightmare fucks you up, then you do die for real. Like,
that's
I thought it was
Freddy
like
Krueger shit.
Because I thought it was like, oh, if the nightmare gets you, like, it doesn't spread the infection. And the answer is no, but it can McMurder your ass.
No.
Good to know.
It'll make you bleed.
Just like, yeah, so that, because everything else we saw from damage from things in the dreams, we saw show up on the little dolls. It's like, okay, that makes sense. That's sort of a go-between's not the right word. Shield's not the right word.
Proxy? Maybe?
Thank you.
Maybe?
That's the word. That is the word. It's very late and I'm very tired.
Yeah,
we're just like, ah!
We're a little loopy.
oh my god, we started rewatching the wrong episode.
It was only when
That
I
was
said
2 hours
Hail
ago.
Santa
And I went, wait a minute. I specifically remember putting Hail Santa in the latest Patreon blooper reel, which means we have footage of that, and that's not a joke that they would have made in episode 3. Let me check the channel. Motherfucker, we already covered this.
Thanks, Santa.
Thanks, Santa. Yes, the entire...
when you're sleeping.
The entire Invader Zim tangent in that fucking episode. Standards and practices, motherfuckers. Anyway, so the boss fight on the stage does not go well because it starts with...
Well, one, they've been burning through their coins.
Yes. So it's like, alright, we got 4 coins left. We'll save one for getting the fuck out of here. But aside from that, let's call the professor and be like, hey, we found the nightmare, so, hey, professor, and there goes the phone, because Weiss has teleported from the hall of chair mirrors to the hall of
Grimm.
Grimm.
Again, this is something, again, I
Dream
don't
logic.
mind, because dream logic,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the, even though the city seems to be, like, you know,
A big sprawling mess.
well, and they have it, like, mapped out, like,
Yeah.
you know, obviously the city has a particular layout, but, you know, dream logic, architecture shifts, and, you know, this is Inception, like the city folding in on itself, so it absolutely makes sense that Weiss could, like, step through a portal and end up exactly where they are in, like, 0
Or
time.
not even step through a portal, just go 2 feet to the left.
Walk through
Doesn't have
that
to
door
fucking-
right there, because of course that door leads there.
Just take a left turn around this pillar, which is identical to every other pillar with a mirrored floor and the tentacle vine chairs. God damn it, words. Fuck. For those nights.
Is there a little
She
bit...
made a left turn at Albuquerque and she got exactly where she needed
Is
to
there
go.
now? Is there a little bit of Alice in Wonderland in the opening?
Ending.
In the ending, yeah, because
Yeah, it looks like it.
which 100% makes sense given all the mirror stuff, because one of the Alice in Wonderland stories is through the Looking Glass.
But there's also some Snow White in this, which we saw in episode 4 with, like, the glass coffin with the other knight in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got an apple on it. And I'm like, no, that's extremely Snow White. Especially extremely Disney Snow White.
Yeah,
Which is not the only Snow White telling. There's some real fucked up stuff in the OG fairy tale.
I
But,
mean,
like...
we talk about this a lot. RWBY has a lot of fun with its fairy tale sort of points of origin. So it will be interesting to see if Ice Queendom does anything sort of meaningful. And you pointed out also that the nightmare...
I've been making Maleficent jokes from day one.
Yeah, very
you know.
Sleeping Beauty. Which...
Asleep, thorns, etc.
yeah, all the thorns. Very, very cool.
Again.
Very, very cool.
I've been making Maleficent jokes from day one.
Yes.
And going from, oh, the nightmare isn't Maleficent, it's fucking Freddy Krueger! Cool. We could use that gardening glove on it. Let's be real.
I got so excited by the Dream Warrior concept and by the Freddy Krueger jokes and comparisons that like the kind of the Sleeping Beauty stuff kind of just skimmed right off. And so this is like the first time I'm actually like really appreciating the fairy tale. The fairy tale bits and pieces that are sprinkled all throughout.
There are no rules, we can do what we want, it's fine. But yeah, so the boss fight does not work out at all.
And some interesting character bits too of like how she views each of these people, each of her teammates. Just like, oh, it's your fault RWBY is like this. Like, even though she's obviously like trying to coax them out of hiding or whatever, but it's just like, oh, it's your fault she's like this. You coddled her. Not like my sister, you know?
Who is the book?
My sister.
My sister, the Judgment Book.
She set me straight. You robbed RWBY of her chance to grow up.
I can only aspire to be carried around by a sneezing robot dog. That's my goal in life.
And
is to be a judgy book carried around by a sneezing robot.
And like
dream logic.
We talked about this in the previous episode, but the fact that RWBY's gun works backwards, but the reverse of that of like Weiss and Blake kind of being overpowered
Yeah.
by comparison. Ruby out here going like, what the heck?
And Blake having extra faunus traits, but only one ear coming out of her bow. Like, Weiss is definitely of two minds here, and that is, yeah, this is the point where we can kind of go into, oh, it's not symbolism, it's fucking text.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Yang and Ruby are the ones where she's kind of keeping them in a tower, and then Team Juniper are, no, this is silly jail, and they're all a little weird, but they're still worth protecting, and Blake is like, get out of my head, you go against everything I was taught. But I can't stop, like, thinking about it.
Like, so you've been dreaming about me, huh? Sun out here being like, oh,
That girl
so
in
she's
black just
thinking
kind
about
of
you.
hanging around in my thoughts, and I keep trying to kick her out of my thoughts, and she keeps coming back, and man, it's just one of those, like, that thing where it bothers you, it doesn't jive with what you've been...
It bothers me.
It bothers me. But it's like, they have a point, and I have to consider that point, but God, it goes against, like, everything I've been told, and how I was raised, and just... Let's be real, a lot of us go through that when we go to college.
I really like...
Which I guess this is Weiss's first time away from home and meeting, like, other people
Other
who
people.
didn't grow up in her bubble. So it is the college experience.
I really do like the way that Sun frames it. It's just like, oh, it means she's thinking about you. It's just like, oh, this is a horrible nightmare scenario. That's very sweet.
About me.
That's very sweet, actually.
And then Penny just telling Yang, like, so just do different parameters. Try something new. I'm like, she's cute, and also she's a robot, and this is
And no one knows she's a robot.
I mean, you're in need of maintenance. Like, I know Yang's distracted, but god damn, y'all.
Penny was not hiding that she was not a real
Penny was
girl.
not hiding that she was a robot. But Yang's just sitting here like, maintenance? Is that a metaphor?
Like,
no.
like a mani petty day? Like, no.
Wait, so you just like programmed your brain? Is that one of those like double think things? Is that something where you can like train your brain to do that? Nah, bitch, she's a robot. She's a robot. She can fly.
When I stop being sad, I'd be awesome instead. True story. But no,
Train your brain to be a robot.
I really liked this sequence right here because it's great character moments for Sun and Penny. Two characters who, again, because of the kind of truncated nature of those first 3 episodes,
We didn't get to see much.
we didn't get to see much of, and like we got robbed of Penny's awesome
Combat
fight scene.
ready.
But also, I mean, you coined the term "team hot," and useless
hot and useless.
when talking about
Sun and Neptune.
Exactly, and it's very, very nice seeing emotional support Sun. Who is there for Blake, because that's what he ends up doing in season 4 too.
Yeah.
So I really like his friendship with her. He needs to be better about being an emotional support for his team, which is something the books go into a little bit.
Yeah.
So he's really, really great at being there for certain people when they need him, and not as great for being there for his team in that same respect. So it's one of those things where it's fully acknowledged in those books, and they have to work through it because it causes some hurt feelings.
Read the books, they're amazing.
Yes, they're a lot of fun.
This is the point where I once again go to support your local libraries, y'all. You can get them from your local libraries. You can get them on audiobook from your local libraries. And it supports the author, and it supports the library. And also vote for library funding whenever it comes up in your district. It's fucking important.
Very important.
The more you know.
Knowing is half the battle.
But yeah, libraries are one of the only public spaces that don't expect you to pay money to be there. And they will help you with shit like resume building, and job interviews, and technology access, and very important things. And sometimes it's just air conditioner when it's 95 degrees outside. All very important things.
And they're good humans who sometimes you're looking for that one book, and they're the ones who are there to help you.
They are humans who, I read this in this branch once, and it was kind of about this, and the main character might have been Bob, or it might have been Bobbert. And generally speaking, they can help. librarians are fucking superheroes, you guys. So, support your local libraries. Read the RWBY books at your local library.
And what were we talking about?
Son.
Judgmental books, yes. No.
Yes, the books will not judge you. Not the way that Nega Winter does. Everything in this dream is just Nega whatever now.
Oh yeah. But
Nega Klein, all 7 of them.
He's still very kind. Are you ladies in there? Yes, go back to sleep. Okay.
I can hear their voices, everything's fine. Like, yeah, no, me hitting snooze for the 15th time.
Actual footage of me.
Actual
my alarm.
footage, yes. I resemble this door.
That door is a mood.
That door is a mood. That door is ajar.
Hey.
Fucking hell. Anyway.
But yeah, so the plan fails. They get jacked up by the nightmare. We have these very nice sequences with Sun and Penny. And Team Juniper also getting a chance to shine as well.
With Jean kind of cottoning on to, you having some trouble there? You having some let's sit, let's talk.
Yeah. And
like, even though early Jean still has a lot of growing to do, he's still really good at this.
Yeah, and they
like, my dude becomes our paladin for a fucking reason.
Mm-hmm. Can I also say that they really nail early Ren and Nora
yes.
too? Like they've really done a good job of capturing like that very comedic chemistry that they have. And the way they balance each other out with their back and forths and everything like that. They really nailed that in that show. It was a very endearing part of the early seasons, and I feel like it was very well captured in this moment too.
Yeah. So again, it's a little weird getting thrown back to season 1 for all of these characters. We had all of this development with them, or all of these characters that are no longer here.
R.I.P.
R.I. Pyrrha.
Oh, R.I. Pyrrha. R.I. Fanny.
R.I. Fanny.
Oh, jeez.
I don't regret that. That was funny.
Yeah, pretty good.
But yeah, it's good. It's good. Again, as weird as it is to come back to the season 1 vibe, they still fucking nail the season 1 vibe.
Mm-hmm.
So we get our advice. Xion has a meal and a nap.
Which they deserve it.
They do deserve it. Good goddamn.
This
kids. Is like, we're doing this 3 times in a day. Like, I'm sure that this is not the first time that it has required multiple runs to finish something. Like, the fact that they have all of this mapped out, and like, no, you did good on the first run. All of it's still going to be there, and now you can build off of that. We send in the full team. It's no longer a scouting mission. But, like, I'm sure it's also like,
but again,
somebody get me a sandwich and a Red Bull. It's going to be that kind of day.
Those girls were burning through those coins
so fast.
Just like, come on, guys.
It's like, okay, we need to be really careful with these. And then the fight hits and it was like, it's like, okay, I get that we need to survive, but also...
you two are OP right now, and you still have superpowers and a gun.
Xion in the waking world watching just like the petals go through the hourglass very slowly and suddenly, boom, just like...
It's
not supposed to do that!
They are a saint.
I really do want Xion's School of Nightmare Fighting.
Yes.
I want the Geistbusters. I want people who fight weird Grimm. I feel like there is so much spin-off potential here, especially since we know that Salem is fucking manufacturing even weirder Grimm.
And running weird experiments.
But I feel like we have really big spin-off potential for like, who are the hunters who go after the weird Grimm? I keep going back to Geistbusters because I'm very proud of that very stupid joke.
It's excellent.
It's a great joke. It's very dumb.
But like the cryptids of the RWBY world.
The fucking cryptids of the RWBY world. Again, we've seen a Geist. We saw what it took to take down a Nuclevi. And Nuclevi, we kind of separate them as cryptids because Nuclevi are mythical creatures as opposed to things being based on bears, wolves, etc., which do exist in real life. The two-headed snakes, not so much, but you know. So that might just be this side of the fourth wall divide. The Nucklevy may just be seen as a very powerful but normal Grimm.
Yeah. I think for
Jim and Randall out here doing their best.
I think for the most part, most Grimm, in the context of the world, most Grimm
follow the rules.
They follow the rules, and like even for the quote unquote weird ones like the Nucklevy or something,
Kevin.
Deep sea underwater Grimm is something I'd like to see more of.
God,
but like, yeah, the stuff where like they might be weird, but they still make sense.
Yeah.
Within the context of the world. Like even the Apathy, they were outliers and they were weird and they were horror movie monsters, but you see them moving in a horde and you're like, yeah, no, I still get it. Like they, I still get
honestly
what they're about.
The Apathy I would put as cryptids because we're kind of working in the realm of most Grimm are just physical force. They overpower you with that. Apathy make you lose your will to live. Geists control other objects to fight you. Nightmares are a stealth invasion. So
the chill possesses you, which I need to see the chill in the show proper.
But then show me the huntsmen and the huntresses. Show me the hunter schools that are specialized against these fucking weird Grimm who don't follow the rules. Where are the specialized Apathy hunters? They have to exist because Apathy are extremely dangerous, even or especially for normal huntsmen. So, like, what goes into becoming a huntsman of Apathy? What do you need? What special skills do you need to develop? What sort of semblance do you need? Because Shion's semblance is very much tailored to this. Are there other people who can do same or similar things? Like, again, I'm going into the world building here, but now that we've opened the door, because it's one thing to be like, sure, there's Grimm that don't follow the rules. There's, we've talked about the Apathy, we've talked about the Geist. The Hound is a special case because he's engineered for some wild shit.
He's Salem's little pet project.
Salem's pet. Both pet and project.
Yes.
And pet project.
I know what I said.
I know what you said.
But
now that we have a nightmare, a Grimm that doesn't follow the rules, and a huntsman specialized to fight them, show me the other ones.
Yeah.
Show me. I think I'm really stuck on Geistbusters and Apathy specialized huntsmen.
All of the eons and eons and eons that that Salem has had to just sit and mess around since she's got the time. Like, what other weird ones of the week did she just come up with and let out into the world?
I like to think that the Apathy are a parody of Oz when he was in one of his I don't want to think about it, I don't want to do anything, I'm going to be drunk all the time stints.
Dang. You remind me of my ex-husband.
Are manufactured. Like,
I designed them after you.
Yes, exactly. Like, I was thinking of you when I made them. They suck the will to live out of everyone around them.
What a burn that would be!
I modeled these Grimm after my ex! That's my headcanon now. That's what it is.
What a queen! Like, she's evil, but also slay, honey.
You're evil, but that's amazing. That's, wow. Like, I hate you, but I gotta respect that hustle. Wow. This is my new favorite tangent that we've gone on. And we've had Hail Santa.
So yes.
I'm sticking with this now. I like this.
Very much.
It's terrible. I'm gonna put it in the Discord and see what people say.
Very much looking forward to the upcoming spin-off series in a few years. Geistbusters. Just just cryptid hunters in general.
Yes.
Grimm cryptid hunters, yeah, for sure.
Can you see the fucking reality shows? It's like ghost hunters, but you know that the shit is there and could kill you. Yep. It's like ghost hunters, but you know the shit is there and could kill you. What a great pitch. It's found footage. but real. Okay, that got depressing. Anyway, so we've basically piecemeal covered these episodes.
Yeah.
We are taking Sean. We have a strategy now to change things in the dream in ways that Weiss will find favorable, and we need to find the matching piece because our red one got completely befuckened by the nightmare. Because of course it did. So, yeah, no, I'm here for this. And I am absolutely certain that the first thing they're going to do is prevent the train attack.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because we've seen it twice, and we've seen the repeat of the scene.
Rule of
How
threes.
soon can we receive trains safely here? Well, I don't know, but it sure is a good thing. There are no faunas here. Like, it's a repeat of the scene. So, if we want to start changing things in the dream for the better, start by saving the fucking train. It's all trains. It always comes down to trains.
Choo choo.
Choo choo. 2 nickels. All right. Oh man,
yeah,
I love Phineas and Ferb.
I'm very, very excited for the rest of the season.
Dream warriors, and now we have this added can move amongst the dream mostly undetected with little resistance, but also runs the risk of Mick dying. And we know that's not going to happen. We're probably going to hit the severe allergic reaction point, but we know that that's not actually going to happen because this happened after after volume 1, and we have 7 more volumes so far.
Yeah.
So the stakes, they're stakes, but there aren't really stakes. Because it's a mid-quel.
You get that anytime you get a mid-quel or a prequel, like where you know who's gonna live, who's gonna die, who tells their story,
It's like,
etc.
I really like to read cozy murder mysteries, but for cozy murder mysteries, you know that everyone in the core cast is always going to be safe, and that both the victims and the killers are going to be amongst the new people that they've introduced for the purpose of this book only, and that they probably won't keep going on to the next one. I read a lot of cozy murder mysteries.
They're great.
Nice.
There's a reason why cozy's in the name.
Look, the Donna Andrews series are amazing, and you gotta love someone who titles their books things like We'll Always Have Parrots, Revenge of the Wrought Iron Flamingos, and my personal favorite, Crouching Buzzard Leaping Loon. It's all bird parody names, and I love it.
But
anyway.
But just like with those, you know that the core cast is going to be fine. But that being said, even though like in the back of our heads we know this is all going to shake out to be okay, there's still creation of stakes, and they're still upping the stakes. This is our final attempt. We will not have the time to do it again, because by the time Shion gets another meal and a nap, Weiss is going to be doing the big sleep. She will be an ex-Weiss. I don't know the full thing.
She's shuffled off his mortal coil. She's joined the choirs eternal. I don't know the whole thing either. That's on my list of things that I want to memorize so I can just roll it out. For those who don't recognize it, it is the dead parrot sketch from Monty Python's Flying Circus. It's pretty amazing.
Is there anything else we need to touch on for these episodes, or anything that you found especially cool? Or there was one thing I was going to say, and this is a little bit more. I had fun with these, but I will say it is very odd going to taking a 3D animated show, turning it into 2D, and then seeing
putting in 3D
models of those 2D models.
Yeah. That was a little weird.
I understand budgetary restrictions, and I understand that it's a cost-saving measure. But again, if you're taking a 3D model, making it 2D, and then turning it back into a 3D model, what was the point?
I mean, it's not like the compositing was bad. It's not like it wasn't good. It was just one of those things where you go, huh. And then go back to it.
I'm here specifically to see this 3D animated show that I'm very fond of, rendered in a specific... Rendered, yes. Rendered. It's very late. Rendered in a specific 2D animated style that I'm also very fond of. So it's just a weird thing to see it turned back into a 3D model in this 2D setting with the 2D styling. I'm not the biggest fan of it. And again, if you're taking the 3D model and turning it back into a not as good 3D model, what was the point? That's me being, that's the most critical thing.
Pedantic as shit.
Yeah, that's the most critical thing I have to say about these episodes. It's overly nitpicky.
But considering that we came from a point earlier this season where it was like, the pacing is out to lunch, it's kind of weird, they're doing this character dirty, we're not sure what they're trying to do. Considering that all of those problems have cleared up, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we're doing much better. And again, this is something that's going to lend itself more to a marathon watch than a week by week, especially in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, and I'm sorry if that's, like, overly critical, because, again, it's not that it was badly done animation or anything like that. It's just, for me, I always get a little bummed when I'm, like, watching a really well put together 2D animated show, and then I see 3D models and I'm like, okay, that takes me out of it a little bit. But as long as it's well done, I'm still having a great time.
Yeah. I think my brain just went, oh. And then we went right back into it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
it took me out of it a little bit, but like, again, it's not that it was bad. It's just, it was one of those things where I noticed it and I thought it was weird. That's all.
Just animation time savers, man.
Yeah. And again,
that's life. And it could be, we've seen anime where it's like, oh, Jesus, here we go.
I've seen anime where it hurts, but then other things like Attack on Titan where you're like, yeah, I'm okay with this.
Like,
or Tiger and Bunny where it takes a little getting used to, but once you're used to it, it's like, yeah, I'm here for it.
Honestly, I keep going back to, and this was in like the early 2000s, so you can really tell the CGI, Vandred. All of the mechs are CG.
Are they?
All of the people are animated, and like the interiors are animated, but like when we get into mech battle territory, it's all CG. And because everything is sharp lines, it works.
The only thing I can think
I'm
of...
due for a rewatch for that series.
Isn't that what they did with Zoids as well?
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Oh, nice.
So like it works. It just depends on how you use it, and like Zoids, Vandred, etc. being earlier CG.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, let's just keep it to the mechs.
Which
and
makes
hand
sense.
Animate the people.
Which makes sense because those were things that were always meant to look like shiny
Robots.
plastic toys.
Robots.
That could be sold to children.
Vandred was literally robots and aliens. It's a really good show if you ignore the protagonists. Which is such a weird selling point.
Wow.
But at some point, I'm going to rewatch those completely bonkers 26 episodes, and we're going to sit down and fucking talk about Vandred on this channel.
Never seen it. But
honestly,
but I'm here
you
for
don't
the conversation.
have to have for us to do this thing.
I was gonna say we'll just
We've
do
done that before.
We'll just do what we did when I
watched Dark Side.
When you're
Dark Side of Dimensions. I wanted to lose my mind for a while, and you just kind of went,
I just let it wash over me. But also to an extent when we watched Willy's Wonderland too, because that was something you
had actually seen Willy's Wonderland, so it wasn't just me losing my mind on half the couch. You were on the other half the couch going, yes, I've also seen this and have input, as opposed to, that's fucking nice, are you okay?
Tell me more about Kaiba's space elevator. Anyway, should we...
My dude has too much money, it's an unhealthy obsession.
Any other thoughts then? Because that was me being probably overly critical.
Yes.
Little
pedantic.
Again,
it gets down at the ending.
Nitpicking.
Yes.
It was just something
Yes.
that took me out of it. I'm nitpicking.
Yes.
These two episodes were a ton of fun.
Oh my god, yes, these were so much better. I'm here for it. I'm interested. I really do think that we are going to save that train to start, and I will be interested to see what else we do. I would love to see a silly jailbreak.
Yay!
I don't know if we're gonna get it.
Get those sillies out of jail.
Just convince Dopey Klein to open up.
Hey, I still think it was so funny. Just like, hey, are you silly? Like, if you're silly, you have to tell me.
If you're silly, yes. I'm not a cop. Some red versus blue lines are just applicable to fucking everything.
They really are.
That doesn't seem physically possible. It's my number one. I don't care about the context. I will use it.
It's a good line.
Very few people know the correct follow-up, but that's okay. Anyway, I think that's about it. We've been here for an hour.
We've been here for
It's an hour.
Anyway, I'm Megan. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin. I also have a YouTube channel called Silver Screams where Katie and I talk about horror things, as you just heard. I have a podcast called No Love Lost where my co-host Will Link loves Lost, and I don't, and we talk about it.
If you would like to see the reverse Uno of the dynamic, where Katie loses her mind about something and Megan just goes, what happened next? We did a video on Nope on that channel, where I was sitting here going, tell me the fucking plot. And poor Megan is attempting to describe to me
context.
the fucking magnum opus that is a Jordan Peele movie, which is not an easy thing to do.
It's a hard movie to condense. That's for sure.
It's a very hard movie to condense, and I'm sitting here going, tell me more, tell me more. Anyway, I'm Katie. You can follow me all over the social medias and on Twitch at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. I also do a weekly show called Nighttime at the Nerd Bar that tapes on Mondays at 7:30 p.m. Pacific on the Fanversation channel. If you want little previews, I've been posting fun little clips of it on this channel, including what I think is a fantastic pitch for a Death Note anthology series. That's 2.5 minutes of your time, and it's a very good 2.5 minutes of your time. You should watch it.
Shit out of that.
Oh my god, I'm
so
so proud of that fucking pitch. It will never get made. But I'm very proud of it, and I think it should get made by someone that probably isn't Netflix. Anyway, so that they had their chance. So
that could have been an entry in the anthology.
It could have!
It could have.
It fucking could have.
You know what? It would have gone over a lot better with me if it had been.
Anyway, so that video is on this channel. We have fun. Yes, join us for Nighttime at the Nerd Bar. My co-host Carrie and I, we talk anime, we talk Overwatch League, we talk any news that's coming out. We recently did a review of Dragon Ball Super Superhero because we were able to attend the premiere, and that was a blast. Really fun movie. And yeah, we're currently going over Overlord Season 4, 2 episodes at a time until we catch up. So that's, if you're watching that, watch along with us. It's a good time. Yes. If you...
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to go into the rest of the spiel, so
I was also going to say, we're also members of Rooster Team Radio,
yes,
where we talk about Rooster Teeth related things, so go check those out.
Also, we mentioned Welcome to Vale, which is Night Vale in the style of RWBY, or RWBY in the style of Night Vale, whichever of those permutations.
You got chocolate in my peanut butter!
You got peanut butter in my chocolate! That's also on there, and that's a very good time, and it is hosted by Mark B. Donica, who does an amazing fucking job with those reads.
He does.
And if you ever want to see me completely lose my mind and sight read something that I was supposed to read beforehand, I didn't. We recorded an episode live at RTX a few years ago, and I only read half the script. I improvised very well. So that's all available. If you want to sponsor the channel, we do have a Patreon. Like I mentioned, we do blooper reels. You get Rooster Teeth related stuff early. That's on there. If you want to throw a couple bucks to our way, we have a Ko-Fi. We also do commissions, not request commissions. All that information is down there, along with all the buttons that you need to hit in order to make the algorithm go brr. Because as much as I don't like algorithms, it's really helpful when it goes brr in my favor. Get vaccinated, wear a mask, vote in your local elections, and support your local libraries. All of those are very important, so please keep continuing to do the thing. Like, subscribe, ding. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Fucking brain dead tonight, and I finally remembered all the little bits and pieces of my outro. It's been how many episodes?